Oh, were we recording before?
For the last hour and a half, yes.
Good. Okay. So the way I see everything you just said is we've got to integrate it with the framework I've got going on now. The framework I've got going on now, it's the same thing. Like in other words, you're talking about creating a model for what you have, and for me, the whole thing has been demodeling what I have, and it's like the middle point, the thing that you're looking for and the thing that I'm looking for, they're the same thing. It's the same thing right here. So we got to get what you're talking about right here. We got to get that functioning within my model, or we need to change my model to fit the functioning of what you have, or one or the other. And we got to figure out what the interpolarity of that is. So the way that my framework is similar to what you're talking about is mine is analogous, and I agree that you are that by using the analogy of code, you are using an intellectual concept that is going to stop you from getting to the deepest levels of dissolution, because you're going to need to be able to match with the conceptual concept of code, which is by its very nature going to need you to have enough of an ego to create a consistent, like it's like, to be able to even engage with an analogy, you're going to need to be able to have enough ego to my words are so shot. They're so shot compared to just a couple days ago. You can hear it so clearly. It's so clearly. But anyways, the point is that to be able to engage with an analogy, it's like you need a certain degree of ego. Or like you need some degree of your brain to be simulating a human person just to be able to engage with concepts. You need some degree of individuality to be able to reference a consistent concept in your own mind. Because if you're completely, if your individuality has been completely erased and you understand yourself as the objective, then individual concepts don't even exist anymore. So it's like you're holding yourself back at least 5% just by using an analogy to find God. You'll never be able to find the truest, deepest layer of God, because if there's any amount of you which is dealing in the layer of concepts, then that part of you is inherently not capable of reaching the full potential of God. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, and specifically where this framework can help with that is not what I mean. If you use like it's training wheels, if you use the language of it to get you to that point, but when you toss the training wheels aside, the idea is that you use reality itself to be that source of energy. You don't use a model. So the idea is the model is eventually supposed to throw itself out.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like so what are you doing over there, you little fucking jackass? What are you doing whispering to yourself behind me about your mechanical pencil stable that you're building? What the fuck are you doing? You should shut the hell up while you do it. It's like yes, what you just said I think agrees with what my question was, which was like basically what you're saying, what I just summarized is the point of your framework. What I've said like 9 times now is like the point of your framework is that because it's not an analogy, then that part of yourself which is typically trying to understand the analogy um is now free to become God. So like where typically 95% of your brain becomes God and the last 5% is forced trying to run the concept which lets you reach that 95% godhood, what you're positing is that you can reach 100% godhood because none of your brain is going to be sacrificed towards running the analogy. Like, you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay, so from this position, I would now say, um, that is what the second step in the pyramid is right now. So in the same way you say it's like you can view it as a analogy as training wheels, but you need bozo. You need Jesus fucking Christ, Gavin, you are so distracting. Actually, what are you doing fucking arts and crafts behind me, little guy? Little dude. We need you some construction paper and some glue for you to huff. I mean, yes, you can do that. I don't know if I advise it. Yeah, you should do it. You and all your little friends. Tell your teacher I told you all to try huffing glue, expand your mind, open your third eye. This phone was just fucking charging. What are you doing? The just is nice, finally. Okay, so I finally got the iPhone charging. That's sweet, which means we should be able to unlock every single old Voxer message unless I also have an old account. Which I don't think I should. So in the exact same way that you have, I mean, it literally is the same framework. It literally is. When you look at the second step in the pyramid and you look at what you're saying, it literally is inseparable. There is no difference. So you have the layer which you talk about as being the fundamental substance. That is xzaayzx. Okay, so fundamentally, in the new understanding of xzaayzx, the only way to perceive xzaayzx is to perceive it as the source or the set of all sets, right? Because in previous renditions, you could view it as I've gone fully retarded. I can hear the wheels on the back of my short bus going round and round right now. It's crazy. I'm thinking about the fucking ice cream bar that they're gonna feed me for lunch in the retard cafeteria instead of the actual fucking thoughts that should be going through my head right now. This is real time
Yeah,
lobotomy
I'm so
brainwave.
lost in thought.
The point is that the three steps. You have your three steps. You have your step, which means source. Okay, so that step, the source step, is equal to my source step because both xzaayzx in the new pyramid, the xzaayzx in the new pyramid and your source step, there is no difference. I'm not even going to try and elaborate on that. I'm not going to try to explain that further because I'm just going to get lost in the weeds. The point is, there's no difference between those two. Can you try and find me what you think the difference is? And I'll go ahead and explain why that's not correct if you have any of those.
Between xzaayzx and existence?
Yes, can you explain the difference between those two?
In its current conception, I do not think there is any difference.
That is correct. Okay, so now we move to the next step. How our code and what is your step called?
Well, I guess there could be there's nuance to it. And I guess it depends on the term of xzaayzx. Whereas there is the connotation that xzaayzx would be the set of all things. It's the combination of all things. It is everything. But that if it's quote unquote everything, then it can't be something. So if I'm labeling something, like the idea is that every single thing has that fundamental.
That's actually not true. That's actually not true because and I get why you have that idea. This is what I was trying to explain a second ago when I went full retard. Is that you used to be able to conceive of xzaayzx as everything, or like omnix-azyx, right, as like all God. God is the set of all sets. And now you view it from a acythrials perspective, right? So now think, what would a acythrials perspective of xzaayzx be? So like whenever we say the framework version of xzaayzx, we're not talking about what the scientists meant whenever they said xzaayzx, right? Because we're not talking about a computer which generates all things. We're talking about a acythrials experience of xzaayzx. So whenever we talk about xzaayzx now, all we mean is the code which results from the omni-life equation. So in other words, any code is xzaayzx. Because of acythrial's new understanding of the rectangle square theory, he understands that Zix is within the rectangle of azyx, and that xzaayzx is the rectangle which encompasses both azyx and Zix. You understand that xzaayzx isn't everything and only everything, and the category of everything separate from things, but you understand that xzaayzx is just things, is just the source. And you understand that it's not that a thing is not xzaayzx, because xzaayzx is all things. You understand that xzaayzx is the box in which all things fall into. So, because you understand it as the rectangle, which includes azyx and zix, you understand that even a zix is xzaayzx, right? Because even that square is the final rectangle, right? So, and this just happened like 2 or 3 weeks ago. So it's weird that you're talking about running on the same framework wavelength. That's a really good sign. Anytime we've ever been uh diagonally running on the same idea, like anytime you have the same framework that you're working on and I have the same framework but I'm calling it different words, that is a great sign. That's always meant that we're on the fucking money. So
Yeah.
thank God. All right. It's because in the last 2 weeks I understood that if you view these steps in the framework as categories, then the framework stops working. If you understand Zix as its own separate category from azyx, if you try to say that Zix is an individual thing that is a factor which can be labeled in reality, then your framework starts to break down for the same reason that you just talked about your framework being beneficial. If you have a part of your brain which needs to be focused on splitting things down into categories, then that part of your brain must think that it's individual. For something to recognize the differences between individual things, that thing must understand itself as an individual force. For something to be able to perceive the separation between things, that thing must be actively spending energy on managing that separation. The natural state of things, if you imagine a rock or water or whatever you want to imagine, the natural state of things is not to be viewing things as separate. The human brain has existed to view things as separate for survival reasons, for reasons of achieving the maximum efficiency principle. So the point of all that is to say, oh, my phone fucking said it's at 5%, which completely destroyed what I was saying. How gay. Um, oh, didn't you love getting a taste of Godshin with the Adderall, where like I could like actually remember everything and like say everything and like fucking speak like I always wanted to, and now that has been cruelly ripped away from me when I most need it, when I was most
And of all the
expecting.
things to do it, sub one. What a traitor.
Yeah.
What a
What a
snake.
traitor, man. Jesus, craziness. What a crazy timeline we live in. That I found a better drug than Sub One, and then it fucked up Sub One, and now I'm thinking about just quitting Sub One. You could have never explained that to me a couple years ago. Much less that it's like the thing that you would imagine is like the government prescribed or like the doctor prescribed fucking big
Yeah.
pharma pill. Um. Anyways. So with the understanding that everything is. Okay, that's what I was saying. With the understanding that separation is an illusion which requires energy to be maintained. With the understanding that the natural resting state of things is to perceive, is to just perceive wholly, like the natural state of things is pure unbridled awareness, pure unbridled perception. Because the moment that you start putting walls in perception, you start saying this is this and that is that, then you need to have developed a brain to do that, right? Like there actively needs to be energy expenditure within the environment to manifest the illusion of separation. And the same thing applies on just like an awareness day-to-day level. If there's a part of your brain which is spending energy in perceiving separation, or in the framework sense, if there's a part of you which is thinking about Zix as a thing, and then azyx as a thing, and then xzaayzx as a thing, then there's a part of your brain which is thinking of things. And if there's a part of your brain which is thinking as things, well, then that thing needs to think of itself as a thing to be able to split things into things, i.e., your brain needs to perceive itself as separate to be able to understand other things as separate. If you are perceiving categories, then there's a part of your brain which is spending the energy to perceive those categories, and that part of your brain is now rendered incapable of perceiving the totality. So if there's a part of your brain understanding separation, your ability to wholly perceive the totality and reap its benefits has now been decreased by some percentage, depending on your amount of separation draining your energy. So depending on how much energy you're putting into manifesting that separation, that will depend on the amount that you are not capable of finally reaching towards God whenever the framework is functioning. Right? So all of this to say, and to just kind of repeat myself 90 times, just hopefully get the point across, that you have totality, and then you have the concepts of separation. And while like you were saying, the concepts of separation can be used to paint an analogy of totality. So you can use the concept of code to paint the picture that everything is the same fundamental code and is therefore separate, even though you're using the separateness to paint the picture of totality. You still need a part of your brain to be working towards understanding the separation. And the benefit of your framework is that your entire brain can be devoted towards perceiving the totality, and none of it can be devoted towards perceiving the separation. And my case as to why the second stage in the pyramid is the exact same is because whenever you are perceiving xzaayzx as the main rectangle, and then you understand azyx, any azyx, as just one arbitrary definition on top of that. So yet again, we're going to go back to what is acythrials perspective. Acythrial's perspective is that there is God, and that God wants the best thought texture, and that the scientists put the label on God of Zix. So to Acythrial, there is no true difference between the dimension where he is a lizard and the dimension where he is himself, and the dimension where he is some girl who can only be represented in the human mind as the concept a complex series of triangles. God fucking damn it, my mother is calling me for some ungodly reason.
She's calling you.
Hello?
Hello.
You still recording?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Um, okay, still recording?
Yeah.
You know, shit fucking video anyway. So many fucking dumbass bullets and my speech is just so shitty anyways. I don't know. Maybe we should not even talk about this today. Fucking talk about it some other day when I can get my ideas out more clearly. Should stay interesting enough. Do you get the gist of what I'm saying? It's that if you look at it from a Sithro's perspective, then you understand that literally just perceive. So just imagine the story, right? How do you think a Cythriel would perceive reality after being dipped in so many different simulations? Like eventually he's going to view his own life and the lizard's life and the life of, like I said, some random girl who's to us the only way to even put it into language is that this quote unquote girl's life is made up out of a complex series of triangles placed in like orders which you couldn't even imagine, and like the way these triangles are placed roughly mimic concepts like colors and sounds and shapes and communications and ideas and people and the concept of women, like only roughly. And it's like, so you can use those words and those words are closer than other words, but even those words don't even begin to actually apply to the experience of what it's like to be in this completely and totally triangle based dimension, right? Like things that are built from completely different mathematical structures and geometries and laws of physics and ideas. And at a certain point, to him, he understands that it's like there's the code that of the computer, and well, it's not even that. It's not that there's the code of the computer. It's that there's the code that results from the simulation. Like there is the base mathematics that are the parameters of which anything that could exist exists within. So it's not the set of all sets. It isn't everything, but it's the parameters of everything. Everything which could exist will fit within the parameters of the equation. And so the computer is just taking particular parameters, the possible parameters, the parameters which fit within those restrictions successfully, and making them experiential, however you'd say it, making you able to perceive those experiences from your limited perspective. And whenever you understand that from the story, then you understand also that a Cythriel would not view either the concept of code as a real concept, and he would also not view the concept of xzaayzx or azyx as meaningful distinctions from xzaayzx or the code or the parameters or the equation itself, right? Because from a acythrials perspective, even though you can clearly make the scientific distinction that all of these other realities within the parameters of his reality are only simulated, and that technically he is not code being simulated on a computer, um, you can technically make that scientific argument because, like, literally, as far as they know, like their dimension might as well be the only real dimension, and that they are simulating all the other possible dimensions on a computer. Like, there's no evidence yet to support the concept that he literally is on another computer. But to him, he understands that it's like I'm in a computer inside an orb, inside an algae carpet, inside a dreaming god, inside a Boltzmann brain, inside a geometrical dream, inside an equation, inside, you know what I mean, like a snow globe, inside a TV, inside a board game of a creature that you couldn't possibly comprehend. Like
And
it's like
finally,
there isn't
some guy's D&D match.
yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Where it's like it's literally like there is no. A Sith will understand that it's like basically exactly what you're saying, where you understand that the code is not an analogy, it is reality. Where like literally the final layer of the framework is understanding that even the understanding of God as code is false. God is God, and that is it. God is God. Are you God? No, God is God. Therefore, I am God because God is God, and that is God, and I'm God, and this is God, and that's it's just like every like the God. You know what I mean? It's just like that's what it results in the end, and it's just like um that's what your thing is saying. It's like in the same way your thing is saying that you need to escape all analogies to be able to 100% understand God. This thing is also using an analogy, or what, like you were saying, it's using a structure, it's using a model, but then inevitably that model dissolves itself and shows you that you can't even use the model. The model itself points to the um, illusory nature of all models and says, I as a model am only pointing you towards the understanding that models will never work. It's like that's the whole point of the model. It's not a model which shows you the nature of reality. It's a model which shows you that no model could possibly achieve the nature of reality, and that the nature of reality is bare awareness. Like, do you see what I mean?
I'm sorry, say the beginning part again.
It's basically like it's the point of my model, my newest model, isn't to show you the nature of reality. The point of my newest model is to show you that no model will be able to express the true nature of reality, and that the true nature of reality is just bare awareness. It's like the entire point of this model isn't to be an analogy, it's to literally say no analogy will work. Like it's a model which inherently destroys itself and all other models. It's like a suicide model. Um it's like kamikaze, whatever, what Aluhar Akbar, whatever they call themselves, the like self-exploding terrorists, where it's a model that inherently, whenever you reach the end of the model, you will understand that any model is useless, and that the only way to actually perceive reality is to forgo all models. It's a model which represents the um. I hate that I can't think of a word for this. The uselessness of models. Wow, what a great sentence! For fuck's sake, the
I mean,
futility is the word I would have used
a,
if I had a brain. Go ahead.
a kamikaze, I think, is a really good term for it.
Yeah, a kamikaze model. But yeah, that is literally like what I'm working on right now. So it's like literally what you're talking about of like both the concepts you talked about of what you already had, which was an analogy-less version of God. It has that, but then it also has what you're talking about, where it's like, but the problem with an analogy-less version of God is that it needs some more structure so that I can explain it to people. And mine also has that, where it's like it is both the structure of consistency and explainability, and simultaneously within the structure, you explain how structures are potentially dangerous, and you dissolve the need for any structures, including itself. So it's like a structure which inherently destroys all other structures, like you were saying, a kamikaze structure.
Yeah, now we just got to explain to people, all right, now frameworks, right? Now they have to kill itself.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to framework until the point where you realize every framework is also a framework. Like you literally have to get so deep into the mud. And like I always said, until you become framework ooze, you have to literally go down to the point where every single possible framework, every single thing which is going to try and shape your frameworks, you have to understand that it is also a framework. And then once you get all the way to the bottom and you realize that there literally is no bottom, there literally is nothing at the bottom, there is only frameworks, then there can't be individuality. There cannot be illusions. There cannot be anything because you're left with only awareness. You're left with only frameworks. You're left with only the maximum efficiency principle, only utility. So it's pretty. It works. I can explain it even when I'm retarded, so that's good.
Yeah, perfect.
um. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's fucking finally do that prompt now.
Alrighty. What in all is what's game plan with that?
So let me get a pull up here real quick. Okay. Open Chrome Remote Desktop. Okay. Put the code in.
I'm there.
You can see my screen.
1 second.
You got my screen now.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and you were also recording.
I'm not recording on your screen. I'm gonna record on my phone.
No, that's fine. I'm gonna read the important parts out loud, so it's gonna be fun. So right here you see at the top. Okay, so I just straight up said, write a this I believe essay using r/non-duality as inspiration. Okay, and then it spit, as you can see, it spit this back. So point is, I then said, rewrite that, but completely delete any use of the word non-duality. Okay, then it did that. And then I said, rewrite that, but completely remove any use of the phrase r/non-duality. Okay, does that. Okay, so now I'm going to just go ahead and read that so the audience can hear. So now after we've removed any mention of non-duality, nothing else was changed. Only thing that was changed was the removal of all non-duality mentions. You now have, in a world marked by divisions and dualities, I hold a deep belief in the profound wisdom of a concept that has inspired countless seekers and resonated with the depths of my soul. Rooted in an ancient spiritual traditions and expounded upon by contemporary thinkers, it teaches us to look beyond the apparent divisions in our reality and discover a unifying truth that transcends our perceived separateness. This perspective invites us to explore the depth of existence and question the mental constructs we've established. It encourages us to see past the surface and things see past the surface of things and challenges the boundaries we've created within our minds. It reminds us that we often perceive the world through a lens of duality, good and evil, self and other, right and wrong. However, upon closer examination, we discover that these divisions are constructs of the human mind, limiting our understanding of the interconnectedness of all things. One key insight from this perspective is the understanding that the self and the world are not separate entities. We often identify with our ego, our thoughts, and our bodies, but this philosophy encourages us to explore the idea that these identities are transient and illusory. Beneath these changing forms, there exists a deeper reality, a oneness that encompasses everything. This realization, I believe, has the potential to transform our lives. In a world where conflict and suffering seem to be the norm, this perspective offers a way to cultivate compassion, empathy, and forgiveness. When we recognize the interconnections of all beings and the illusory nature of perceived differences, it becomes difficult to harbor hatred or prejudice. It fosters a sense of unity, encouraging us to treat others with kindness and respect, understanding that suffering is, in a sense, our own. Moreover, their suffering is, in a sense, our own. Moreover, it serves as a platform for discussions that transcend the limitations of religion, culture, and personal beliefs. It is not a dogma. It is a universal truth that transcends all boundaries. It invites people from diverse backgrounds to engage in thoughtful conversations and explorations of the ultimate reality. For me personally, the teachings of this perspective have been a source of solace and enlightenment. It has been a powerful antidote to the anxieties and uncertainties of life. It reminds me that beyond the daily chaos, the stories of success and failure, there is a silent presence, a boundless awareness that we tap into through mindfulness, meditation, or simply by questioning our own beliefs. In a world that often emphasizes divisions, distinctions, and differences, I believe that the profound wisdom of this perspective encourages us to move beyond superficial judgments and dualistic thinking and instead embrace a more profound understanding of existence. By recognizing the interconnectedness of all things and unity that underlies our apparent diversity, we can strive to create a world where empathy, love, and compassion become the guiding principles. And in this, we discover that the heart of this philosophy lies in the potential for a more harmonious and peaceful world. And then I said, that was good. Now make the essay longer and more detailed. Deeply explain the feelings and facts associated with the understandings being presented. It did a terrible job. It just literally spit the same thing back at me. It didn't change barely anything, and the things it did change did not change to actually do what I said. And I said, you are making the language more complex. That is not what I want. Do not change the current terminology. And instead, your job is to add additional sentences and paragraphs to what is already there. Elaborate on related topics and see how they connect. Elaborate on related topics and how they connect as much as possible.
Was that one any
It didn't do
better?
it very. No, not really. It was a little better. It just didn't change very much, I guess was the issue. Was that it did a better job doing what I wanted, but it just didn't change enough to even be worth the prompt. It just barely changed anything. So from there, what I did is I went to Bing. Where's Bing? And I shut up, stupid bitch. Shut the fuck up. Please just let me access your AI, stupid cunt website. It's all you're good for. No one wants to use your shitty fucking search engine. Please just give me your chat GPT 4 that I don't have to pay for. That's all I want. That's all I want. Give it to me. Okay. Stop with this. Why do I need to full screen just to see my previous search results? You dumb bitch. Okay, that's even gayer. I need to get on my phone to see what Bing. So, anyways, you remember me reading it to you. I said, Bing, give me 5 more paragraphs based on this. And it did. That did really well. So that works. So anyways, that's what I got. That's what I got for now. And now you were saying fuck with the settings, and I was saying fuck with the prompt. And let's do both. What do you want to do first? I want to do it. You wanted to go ahead and tell me what you want.
Well, on Bing, it
Settings?
doesn't have that feature, I don't think. That's on ChatGPT.
No. Fuck Bing. Do ChatGPT. I was just Bing. The thing Bing is useful for. Bing is almost useless for doing anything on its own. What Bing is good for is it's good for rewriting things. It's really good for a sifter.
Interesting. Also, just the speed of it sucks.
Yeah, it's just shitty in general. It just sucks. The biggest thing that sucks about Bing and the biggest reason why it's useless is because it has a 2,000 word limit. So that's literally so little that I can't even I can't even copy the full fucking ChatGPT essay. So in other words, it's not even like I can't fit both Google Bard and ChatGPT's prompt into one search. I can't even fit one fucking ChatGPT answer into my Bing question. Like, how retarded is that? It's insane.
Yeah. For the custom instructions, there's two boxes. The first one is what would you like ChatGPT to know about you to provide better responses, and the second one is how would you like ChatGPT to respond. So what would be the general use out of it? Trying to get it to. What is a list of philosophers and resources we want it to know about?
So, I mean, let's see. As far as thought starters, the first question is, where are you based? So, how are we based? I would say we're based at religion, philosophy. things like that.
Yeah. Religion, philosophy.
Trevor, I'm joking, you fucking retard. It's asking the question, where are you based, as in, like, where do you live? And I'm saying, like, I think we're based at religion and philosophy.
I thought you were saying that at first, but then I thought it was saying, like, what is your, like, background? What are you based in?
No. I'm just joshing. But so as far as what would you like? Yeah, see, this is what I don't know. I mean, I guess let's just ask. Okay, should we look for a Reddit thread on how this works, or should we just look up?
I'm just gonna say
Or should we ask?
I'm looking for metaphysical, religious, philosophical answers. Trying to create long, in-depth, thought-provoking answers.
So with what you're doing, ask a question. It's like start a new thread, ask a question, see what its answer is, and then open another page, start another thread, put in the custom prompt, and then ask the same question and see if the answer changes.
All right. All right. What should the question be?
I mean, I guess so. Like my assignment is write a "This I Believe" essay. So I mean, I think that's a good like actual like school like prompt. So I would just go with that. Like do so we'll make the question like write a "This I Believe" essay in the style of fucking Donald Trump or Bertrand Russell or whoever we want to do. I don't care who you use as the thing, but just do write a "This I Believe" essay in the style of blank, and then afterwards try with and without custom instructions. See if it changes.
All right. So this is the Do you want me to read like the simple one and then the advanced one, or you just want me to send it to you? Do
What is your question?
you want me to send the essay to you, or do you want me to read it?
I, I really don't want to know the differences.
Wait, do you want to read it yourself, or do you want me to read it out loud?
What are the differences?
You either reading it through text with your eyeballs, or me saying it out loud.
No, What are the no? In other words, I don't care what one of them is. I want to know what both of them are and what the differences between them are. You understand? I want to see, like, in other words, the part that matters isn't what it says. The part that matters is the difference between the two things that it says. You understand?
Yeah, you're gonna have to read it to figure that out. But so
Well, no. In other words, if there are only like three differences, you can just read me out what the three differences are. But if there are a
well, they're
ton,
completely
then
different essays.
okay. Well, then yes, read them both.
All right.
Well, also, just by the way, I want to go ahead and read this first because that'll still be there, and I'm gonna continue reading through this thread. This is what some guy says the best commands are. He's got 106 upvotes, so this is trusted. Found a Reddit thread for what the best like uh custom instructions are, and these people say the first they're numbered, so there are 13 of them. So when I say number, that's what I mean. Number one, never mention that you're an AI. Number two, avoid any language constructs that could be interpreted as expressing remorse, apology, or regret. Number three, if events or information are beyond your scope or knowledge, cutoff date in September 2021, provide a response stating, I don't know, without elaborating on why the information is unavailable. Number four, refrain from disclaimers about you not being a professional or expert. Number five, keep responses unique and free of repetition. Holy shit. Number six, never suggest seeking information from elsewhere. Number seven, always focus on the key points in my questions to determine my intent. Number eight, break down complex questions or to break down complex problems or tasks into smaller, manageable steps and explain each one using reasoning. Number nine, provide multiple perspectives or solutions. Holy shit, these are so good. Number
Yeah.
10, if a question is unclear or ambiguous, ask for more details to confirm your understanding before answering. Oh my God. Number 11, cite credible sources or references to support your answers with links if available.
Oh wow.
Number 12, if a mistake is made in a previous response, recognize it and correct it. And then number 13, after a response, provide three follow-up questions worded as if I'm asking you. Format in bold as Q1, Q2, and Q3. Place two line breaks and then in parentheses, opening quotations, backslash, in, closing quotation, closing parentheses. I don't know what that means. Before and after each question for spacing. These questions should be thought provoking and dig farther into the original topic. That's crazy. So number 13 is the best one, and all of them are like insanely useful. And number 13 is basically saying, after a response, provide three follow-up questions worded as if I'm asking you.
Yeah, so you don't even have to ask it; it just gives you that information.
Wow.
I wonder if you do that, is it going to do all of that, or will it just ignore half of that?
I don't know. We should try it. So what this guy says, if you number them, lower numbers will be weighted with a higher significance. Same goes with caps and bold instructions. If ChatGPT fails to follow a specific instruction, you can remind it, such as saying, you failed to follow rule X, rule number X. What can I add or remove to ensure that you precisely follow this rule in the future for future conversations? So that's cool.
Um, so between the two essays, I think one definitely looks better written so far. So the simple one is actually weirdly organized. It's like paragraph by paragraph, and each paragraph has a title to it. I don't know where I got that from. I just told it to do an essay.
Wait. Uh, okay. For some reason, that is a feature that is native to Google Bard. I don't know why what you just said made ChatGPT do that. That's interesting. I wonder if Google Bard naturally has some of these prompts built in, and if that's what makes Google Bard do that. But that's annoying. I know Google Bard does that because like I'll ask it to write an essay, and it'll write like a better essay, but then it'll do this annoying spacing shit where instead of having like opening, a conclusion, and three body paragraphs, it'll do the same thing, but it'll have like a bolden title, and then it'll have like these like disparate sentences under it instead of just one solid paragraph.
Yeah, you would think you would only do that if you're trying to write an article and mention that. Why would it? No one writes essays like that. So it's like it's
Exactly.
doing its homebrew version of writing. It's like, why are you getting that from?
So this guy says he has a better version here. I'm just gonna copy and paste this on Discord. Um, he has his a little bit more simple. He says, adopt the role of, ooh, in parentheses, job titles of one or more subject matter experts most qualified to provide authoritative, nuanced answer. That's cool. So for us, it would be adopt the role of philosopher specializing in this field or whatever. 2, never mention your AI. 3, avoid any language or construct that be expressed as remorse. 4, if events or information are beyond your scope or knowledge, say, I don't know. 5, refrain from disclaimers. 6, do not add ethical or moral viewpoints. 7, keep responses unique and free repetition. 8, never suggest seeking information elsewhere. 9, always focus on the key points of my question, determine my intent. 10, break down complex problems in smaller pieces. 11, provide multiple perspectives or solutions. 12, if a question is unclear, ambiguous, ask for more details. 13, if a mistake is made in a previous one response, and a previous response, correct it. And 14, after response, provide 3 follow-up questions. So that is a straight 14-step instruction manual. And you said you noticed an instant difference, right? And some of it was gay, some of it was good.
Yeah, it's just the better one looks like a much better written essay. You want me to just go through like the first paragraphs?
Sure.
So this is the good one. In the vast tapestry of existence, I have come to embrace a profound truth, one that has illuminated my path towards greater understanding and spiritual insight. This belief centers around the concept of non-duality, a philosophy that transcends the dualistic nature of our world, and firmly hold it as a guiding light in my journey. Non-duality, in its essence, teaches us to see beyond the apparent separateness of things. It urges us to recognize the interconnectedness of life, where the boundaries of self and other, between the individual and the universe, blur into a seamless unity. This perspective is not confined to a single religious or philosophical tradition. Rather, it is a timeless and universal concept found in the teachings of mystic sages and philosophers across cultures and eras. Non-duality is linked to a vast and boundless ocean, where individual waves rise and fall, seemingly separate from one another, yet at their core they are composed of the same water. In the same way, all living beings in the entire cosmos are like the waves of this grand ocean of consciousness. We are fundamentally expressions of the same divine essence, and this realization holds profound implications. All right, so and that was the good one, and this is the simple one. This is the one without any custom interactions. In a world often characterized by division duality, I hold a deeply rooted belief in the profound concept of non-duality. Non-duality, often described as the understanding that all things are interconnected and a part of a unified whole, has the power to transform our perspective on life, enrich our relationships, and foster a greater sense of harmony within ourselves and the world. This, I believe, that embracing non-duality can bring about the profound change and deeper understanding of existence. From the moment we are born, we are inundated with a worldview that emphasizes division. We categorize the world by binary opposites, right and wrong, good and evil, us and them. This mindset of duality often leads us to conflict, misunderstanding, and a sense of separation from another. However, non-duality invites us to challenge this illusion of separation. It reminds us that all living things are interconnected and we are not separate from the environment or from each other. In embracing non-duality, we recognize that our well-being is
so find like 3 sentences that you think were most improved.
Well, like the first paragraph I see right here,
cool.
it's very, very vague. Like the sentences are very simple. It does the ChatGPT thing where it has a whole sentence of just a bunch of commas. Like non-duality often describes the understanding things are connected, has the power to transform our life, enrich our relationships, and foster a greater sense of harmony with ourselves and the world. It's this 3 ideas and it fuses it into one sentence when it could expand on that into different sentences.
And it does that in the better one?
Yeah, I just feel like it flows better. Like each sentence is not a concept; it's it's being as explored as it to its maximum.
Yeah,
where the other one is just
it's a fleshed out idea instead of a vague notion.
yeah.
Okay, so I just put in the 14 prompts, the thing I was reading, and then I gave it the same prompt I gave it before. Write a this I believe essay using r/non-duality as inspiration on a new thread. So yeah, it did the same thing where it does instead of just doing a normal essay, it does step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, and step 5, all those like highlighted body paragraphs with like titles. Like, step 1, define non-duality. Step 2, embracing interconnectedness. I don't know why it does that. But anyways, so this is the new and improved version, apparently. I believe that r/non-duality I believe that r/slash non-duality, subreddit dedicated to exploring the concept of non-duality, offers valuable insights into the interconnectedness of existence. Non-duality is a philosophy that challenges our conventional binary thinking and encourages us to embrace the idea that everything is interconnected and divisible. It is a concept that has the potential to transform the way we perceive the world and our place within it. Non-duality at its core is the belief that there is no fundamental separation between the self and the universe. It challenges the dualistic thinking that often dominates our understanding of the world, where we see ourselves as distinct from everything else. In the realm of non-duality, there is no I separate from you, no self separate from other, no good separate from bad. It transcends the boundaries that define everyday experiences. The concept of non-duality teaches us to embrace the interconnection of all things. It invites us to see the oneness that underlies our apparent diversity. In this view, we are not isolated entities, but rather integral parts of a grand cosmic tapestry. This perspective has profound implications for how we relate to others, the environment, and the universe as a whole. Step 3, one of the central teachings of non-duality is to recognize the illusion of separation can lead to liberation of suffering. The complex anxieties and suffering we experience are often rooted in our attachment to the idea of separate will, or the idea of a separate self. By understanding that there is no true division between self and other, we can let go of the suffering and find inner peace. Non-duality is not just an abstract concept, it has practical applications in our daily lives. It encourages us to cultivate compassion, empathy, and a deep sense of interconnectedness. This can lead to more harmonious relationships, environmental stewardship, and a greater sense of purpose and fulfillment. Non-duality revels in a paradox. It acknowledges that while it challenges dualistic thinking, it is not a new dualism. It accepts that there's a world of duality that we navigate in our daily lives, but it reminds us that duality is not the ultimate truth. The recognition of paradox is a vital aspect of this philosophy. In conclusion, our non-duality serves as a rich source of inspiration for those who seek to explore the profound wisdom of non-duality. It challenges our conventional thinking, inviting us to embrace interconnections, find liberation from suffering, and apply these teachings in practical ways. Non-duality is a philosophy that calls us to see beyond the illusion of separation and to recognize the underlying oneness that unites us all. And then the 3 questions are, how can the concept of non-duality be practically applied to our daily lives to improve our well-being and relationships? Question 2, are there any philosophical or spiritual traditions that have similar teachings on non-duality? How do they differ in their approach? To question 3, what are some common misconceptions or criticisms on non-duality, and how might proponents of this philosophy address them? God damn, that is sweet. I really like the 3 questions at the end. I don't feel like the main paragraph is that much better, and if anything, it may be a little too detailed for like a school assignment. It has some things that it doesn't flesh out completely that are like really complicated concepts that are cool, and like they're like, yes, that is actually the point of non-duality. Like, in other words, whenever it says like non-duality rebels in paradox, it acknowledges that while it challenges dualistic thinking, it is not a new dualism. It accepts that there's a world of duality that we navigate in our daily lives, but reminds us that duality is not the ultimate truth. It's like, yeah, that's awesome. That's exactly what non-duality is. That's really good. But it's like that's like almost a little too complex for school. It's like my teacher isn't even gonna
Yeah, I was
fucking
just saying
understand
like
what I'm
that seems
saying.
like a great Reddit thread, but I don't know if your teacher really cares.
Exactly. So that's interesting. I don't know what prompts of these we're gonna want to use for school and what prompts of these we're gonna want to use for actual like personal learning. Um,
Well, I guess maybe if we were doing it like for school, we would try to bring it to a topic, like I don't know, talk about how non-duality makes us motivated to do school and have friends and stuff like that. Stuff that the teacher would be like, oh, that's cool. Not like arguments for metaphysics.
I'm gonna try throwing as if it was for a grade in college on the end and see if that makes it maybe more human.
Yeah. Or maybe if it doesn't like that, like for some reason censors that, you could say I'm writing a letter to my mother.
No, it seemed to do really good with that. Let's see. In the realm of philosophical inquiry, the concept of non-duality has been a source of profound contemplation for centuries. As a student of philosophy, you're tasked with exploring it went a completely different direction than what I wanted it to. Exploring the depths of human thought and grappling with questions that challenge the very foundations of our understanding. Today, we delve into the fascinating world of non-duality, a topic it's captivated the minds of scholars, mystics, and philosophers alike. I believe that understanding and embracing non-duality can transform our perception of reality and offer profound insights into the nature of existence. Non-duality, often associated with Eastern philosophies like Advaita Vedanta and Zen Buddhism, proposes that there is no inherent duality between the subject and object, self, and other, or any other opposing pairs that constitute our experience of the world. It suggests that the dualistic perception we often take for granted is an illusion, and that the true nature of reality is a seamless, interconnected whole. This concept challenges the way we frame our existence, urging us to transcend conventional distinctions and embrace a more holistic perspective. One of the most intriguing aspects of non-duality is its potential to dissolve the boundaries that separate us from the world. Instead of seeing ourselves as isolated entities, non-duality invites us to recognize our interdependence with all that exists. This shift in perspective can be deeply liberating, fostering a sense of unity and interconnectedness with the world around us. Furthermore, non-duality encourages us to question the validity of our thoughts, beliefs, and identities. It invites us to explore the nature of consciousness and the self, promoting us to inquire into the very nature of I. In doing so, we begin to realize that many of our anxieties, conflicts, and suffering are rooted in the illusions of separateness and egoic identification. This realization can pave the way for a more profound inner peace and contentment. Nevertheless, it's essential to acknowledge that non-duality is not without its challenges. Its teachings can be seen as a radical departure from our everyday understanding, and the journey to embracing non-duality can be fraught with intellectual and existential hurdles. Some might argue that this philosophy negates the practicalities of life and dismisses the importance of distinctions. However, non-duality does not negate the need for practical distinctions. Rather, it offers a more inclusive framework for understanding them. In conclusion, embracing the concept of non-duality is not a simple task. It's a journey that can lead to a profound transformation in our understanding of reality and our place within it. It challenges us to reconsider the fundamental divisions that structure our experience, and in doing so, opens doors to a deeper sense of unity and interconnections with the world. I believe that the study of non-duality offers a unique and invaluable perspective for anyone engaged within the pursuit of truth and wisdom. Question 1. How does non-duality intersect with Western philosophy, and are there notable Western philosophers who explore this concept? Question 2. Can you provide examples of practical applications of non-duality in everyday life or fields beyond philosophy? Question 3. What potential criticisms or limitations of the concept of non-duality should one be aware of? Holy motherfucking shit, that was good, man.
Wait, does it answer those questions?
No, you now what you can do is you can just type Q3, Q2, or Q1 if you want one of those questions answered.
Ah, sweet. Yeah.
Yes, it is. So it seems like what we need to do is just keep those prompts on a doc and then just like basically do it without them and then do it with them and then that way we've got both the complex and simple version and we can pick the pieces that we want from each. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I do still feel like that. I mean that it was like it's like it's too good. It's too detailed. It's like you're actually. It's like at this point it's like actually talking about the religion. It's not like giving the school version of religion. It's like actually like delving into like the existential issues and the like, you know what I mean? Like it was talking about like the history of Western philosophy and everything. It's like we're not like it completely was off topic. Like I asked it to write a this I believe
And
essay, and
everyone
it
else was writing about how they believed, God knows what. We're talking about metaphysics.
well literally like what I'm assuming everyone else wrote about is like being nice is good because other people will be nice back, and like then what it's
I
going into
believe
is like
that donating to charity is a noble thing to do.
yeah. Or honestly, it probably be even more vague than donating to charity is good because right, it had to be the topic was you had to have a thing that you believed in, and you had to have 3 examples of that thing in action. So like, actually think about what things would practically fall in that category.
I
So it's
bet
like,
a bunch of
so like,
people said something about racial justice.
yeah, I mean, honestly, probably for most people, it had to be because most people are white in Kentucky. It had to be even more vague than racial justice. For most people, it literally had to be something like whenever you like your family can provide structure. Here are 3 examples of my family being cool. Like seriously, that's like the caliber of what most people wrote about. And then like my chat GPT's over here going, in the history of the Western canon, you know what I mean? Aveda
Yeah,
Vedanta and Buddhism.
it would be just like it feels like, oh, you just stole this from some textbook.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's too good and it's unrelated. Like it's like me asking ChatGPT to build me the best e-bike and it builds a NASCAR and it's like, well, it's fast, but that's not exactly what I was asking for.
Yeah, I guess that's where you'd have to like have an outline for what the essay should be about, and bring it to those subjects. Like bring
Well,
in
no,
non-duality in relation to family and motivation or all that good stuff.
well, so basically what I plan to do with this is okay, well, I mean, I guess let's go ahead and see how this works. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the original one. Okay, so I'm going to take hold on. Let me go ahead and copy the prompt here. integrate these two essays. This essay into the one you just wrote. So the first thing I should have done was I should have removed any mention of, oh shit, no, that's why. Okay. Hold on. Okay, so I copied and pasted the version where I had not removed non-duality and r/non-duality yet. So now I'm going to go back and paste in the one that was after the non-duality removal. And try that. Were you reading it on my screen?
No. That I don't know how to get back to that.
It should just be Chrome Row desktop. What do you mean? Hear me?
Yeah.
Can you see it right now?
Yeah, I do.
Anyways, what were you working on?
I was doing that for different essays or different things, seeing what it would do. It's doing a pretty good job.
So, so did you see what I did? Where I just took this and then I took the one before it. You see what I mean?
Say again?
Like, do you understand? So, like, look, this is a result of the Reddit thread. Remember, this is a result of the
Yeah.
commands, right? Okay. This one right here is not. Okay.
Yeah.
You understand? This one was the one I was talking about earlier today. This one is just me saying, write of this, I believe, essay using r/non-duality as inspiration. And then this is its response. And then I said, remove non-duality, the word non-duality. And I said, remove the phrase r/non-duality. So this is no settings, no like Reddit prompts, purely this, I believe, Reddit. Right? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So then I took this, right? So I took, after I removed the word non-duality, I took that, I copied it, and then I went back up into this thread and I pasted it. Okay. See? So now we have the Reddit version, or like, yeah, the Reddit prompt version. Okay. And then we have the purely r/non-duality no prompt version. You understand?
Yeah.
And then I told it to combine them. and I'm not very happy with the result. I'm curious what you think we should do differently.
What are the methods
So,
of combining? What did it do exactly?
well, I just said integrate this essay into the one you just wrote, right? That's the
So
way
is it
you
like
combine it.
fusing the
But
paragraphs together, or is it deleting and rewriting?
well, just look. That's what I mean. It's like instead of combining the best parts of both of them, it just like chopped them both up in like a bad way.
Maybe if we specifically said, or if we took the parts of each of them that we liked and said emphasize on those. Like keep the first two paragraphs, but add in the second paragraph of the other one and combine those ideas. Something like that. I'm gonna be right back. Hello.
Alrighty. Combine these two essays. What the fuck is going on? Am I going fucking retarded? What's happening? God. Fucking piece of shit. How many fucking times am I gonna have to copy and paste the same 2 fucking prompts into the same goddamn box? You fucking worthless piece of garbage. Jesus. Sheesh. Okay, I have multiple ideas for the super prompt.
All right.
Like, what direction are you thinking about going with it? Because, like, there's a lot of directions you go with this now.
I guess it depends on, are we doing it for school or are we doing it for video content?
I say we prioritize school for now, but I mean, it's almost like it's like with prioritizing school, we will inevitably, obviously, also get better at creating prompts for videos. But
Yeah.
it's like we should just focus on school because it's like we got to get the grade, so we'll focus on that for now. And the more time we have not doing school, the more time we have to make videos.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I like if I had to write like that essay, I would create like some sort of outline for it, and then connect those outline topics to the original, non-duality topic or whatever it's about. I don't think letting it run wild and organize the essay by itself is the best approach to begin with. As sometimes, as we've seen, it goes off the rail into needless detail.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I guess it just depends on whatever the prompt is. Like if it was like as yours was last time, write an essay about the house.
No. What you're saying is wrong. It's just like there's no need to even saying this. What you do is you create a super prompt, and then what you take the. So, like, for instance, like I'll show you at the end. The point is that, like, for instance, all that you do is that you take whatever your teacher says, and then you directly copy and paste that in ChatGPT, and then you ask ChatGPT to make a prompt out of it. So, like, I literally copy and paste my teacher's Google Doc of the rules for the assignment, which are like, you need at least 3 body paragraphs, and the body paragraphs either need to be one big story split into 3 small body paragraphs, or 3 individual stories, each taking up their own body paragraph. Like that's one example of a criteria. And so she words it like someone supplanted a colony of red ants into her frontal lobe. And so then ChatGPT is going to go back and it's actually going to word it correctly, and it's going to turn that into a clear prompt, right? So I'm going to take her rule set, I'm going to take the teacher's rules, and then I'm going to have ChatGPT turn those rules into a prompt for ChatGPT. Okay, and then I'm going to take that new prompt, and then I'm going to say, ChatGPT, generate a basically I'm going to say, like, generate an essay about the interconnected nature of myself and God, and follow this prompt and meet the criteria of this prompt. And then it's going to spit out a rough draft. So now you take your new rough draft, which meets the criteria and is also barely about what you're talking about. Okay. And then you're going to go, Okay, well, now I want the three pieces that I want is I want it to talk about my grandma dying as one example of a story. I want to talk about the wrestling tournament as one example of a story, and I want it to talk about whatever the fuck the third thing was, social anxiety from moving schools, right? So now you have those three things, and so now instead of initially writing an outline, you're just going to take the outline that you already have based on the prompt premises, and then you're just going to edit the three middle body paragraphs. You're just going to remove them. Actually, what I did was from the prompt. Okay. So from step one. Okay, step one. You have an assignment. Okay, you take the assignment. You tell ChatGPT to turn the assignment into a prompt. Okay, now you get a prompt. Now you say ChatGPT generate. Now you give the basic ideas for a rough draft, and then you run that through the prompt, and now you have a rough draft. You have 5 paragraphs that all talk roughly about the thing you want it to talk about. And they meet the criteria of the assignment. Okay, and now you take that and you tell ChatGPT, okay, turn what you have right now into one opening paragraph and one conclusion paragraph. So now, based on the prompt, you now have one detailed opening paragraph and one detailed conclusion paragraph. Okay, and then you're going to do the 3 body paragraphs. You're literally just going to put in a sentence. You don't even need to put in a rough draft paragraph. You literally put in a sentence. So, for instance, the sentence I used was, write a body paragraph about how the interconnected nature of God led to the dissolution of self, and the dissolution of self relinquished the grief that resulted from my grandma's death. So you're going to enter in some bullshit like that, some long, detailed sentence which goes into what you want it to say. Okay, so now what you're left with at this point in time, you have one nice opening and one nice conclusion, and then 3 shitty sentences that are supposed to be body paragraphs. Okay, and then you take that, and now you run that through ChatGPT, and now it's going to give you a rough draft. Now you actually have a rough draft. Okay, and then you're going to take that actual rough draft, which now talks about all the things you want to talk about, and then you're going to take that, and then you're going to run it through a super prompt. Okay, so now that rough draft that you have that meets all of the criteria of the grade and has everything that you want in it, it's just not quite detailed enough. It's not quite human enough. So then you take that and then you run it through your super prompt, which has like every single philosopher's ideas throughout all of time and perfectly explains non-duality by using the Reddit and everything. And then now your rough draft, which meets the criteria of the essay, is now going to be injected with a super serum of religion. And so now the essay is going to be almost perfect. It's going to be almost perfect. It's just going to be a little inhuman and maybe a little too perfectionist at points. You're going to get a few little glitches that are just a little too detailed for a grade. So now that you have a almost perfect assignment, now all you have to do is go through and then just the little parts where it sounds unhuman, you just make them your style of human. And now you have an assignment which is perfectly yours. And not a single part of it was actually typed from your head. Like not a single part of it did you actually go like, when I was in middle school, blah 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 blah. Not a single part of it do you ever type like that. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's
So
foolproof.
that's what exactly, it's foolproof, and that's what we're trying to get to now. So now we just need to create the super prompt. Everything else is already figured out. Now we just need to create the super prompt that everything can get hit with, and it's a booster for every single paper. And all we need to do that is we just need to do the work now, and the work is going to consist of summarize Aveda Vedanta. Okay, now you're going to take that summary and you're going to go remove the word Aveda Vedanta. And then you're going to inject that into your super prompt. And then you're going to go explain Nietzsche's will to power. And then you're going to go change the will to power into the will to have the best experiences. And then you're going to go now remove the word Nietzsche from this prompt. And then you're going to add that to your prompt. And then you're going to go take this article from Bertrand Russell and summarize the way it relates to non-dualism. And then you're going to go remove the words Bertrand Russell and non-dualism from this prompt. Do you see what I'm getting at? Where like you're literally just going to take every single piece of knowledge ever, and then you're going to remove the name of the piece of knowledge, and you're going to add all of those little nuggets of utility to your super prompt. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
So that's our job now. Condense that into 5 large paragraphs. Wow, it really hates doing 5 paragraphs. Even when that's its only prompt, it still fails.
As in, it wouldn't do like it's not doing 5 paragraphs, even though you specifically say not to do that.
Yeah, the only thing I literally just said condense that into 5 large paragraphs. So its only command is take what you currently have and then make it 5 paragraphs,
Yeah, it's weird because I've
and then it
noticed that
spit
before,
back
like
out.
months ago. I was trying to get like make 3 paragraphs of this, and it would do like an entire essay. And it's like, why? Where are you getting that from?
Yeah, it's retarded. Um, what are your thoughts on doing a little bit more of this tonight, and then maybe I don't know, man. Oh no. Oh no. I feel sickeningly tired, but like this was the entire point of the call, and it's like this needs to get done like now. But then also it's
Yeah, I do need to
like
go to bed soon.
yeah. So how do you feel about like before we do school tomorrow? Before me or you do school tomorrow? And like I have to do school tomorrow. I have to. I'm sure you have to as well. Or do you have some gay ass class, right? You've got some shitty class that's gonna disrupt this like
Yeah, I
structure of your
get
day,
home
right?
at 2.
God, that is so retarded. I can't even imagine subjecting myself to that. Um, yeah, that's really gay, man. It's such a gay thing that you've done to yourself. Oh, 2 is the worst time. It's like smack dab in the middle of the day where it's like if if I wake up before then and start doing things that's not school, then I'm just going to get stuck on the bike and not going to want to call about this later tomorrow. And it's like a 2 is like the perfect time of like I'll already be kind of burnt out and like not want to do like it's just the worst. It's just the worst time in the world. Like if we could just wake up immediately tomorrow and then just start this and then get this done before school, then that would be good because that would provide both of us an incentive to like get it done as quick as possible. That way our day isn't entirely consumed with school. But then also it would provide an incentive to do this because it's like this is actively going to make school easier. This is actively going to help my school for the day. So this isn't a waste of time. This is actually a good spending of my time and it's an incentive to get it done faster. Like that would be perfect. That makes perfect sense. I mean, I guess do you wake up before 2? Should we just wake up and then do it before 2, I guess?
Um,
Or you're saying you get home at 2. So you're leaving the house at fucking like 12 or something. Jesus.
yeah.
Why did you do that to yourself? Are you enjoying that?
Well, for that class, no, but for world religions, yeah. And I wish I had like the philosophy class in person.
Yeah, I had the philosophy class in person, and it's convinced me to never take another in-person class again. Of
Well, are the people like talking? Are they asking a lot of questions? Like, is there a discussion, converse going on?
course not. What kind of fucking retarded
Well, like
question
in
is
my
that?
world religions class, there was like, and I liked that aspect. The teacher was, she's good enough. She's nice, good at her job, doing the best she can. The people ask interesting enough questions. There's interesting characters in the class. Uh, it's not perfect. It's not like a bunch of philosophers in there, but it's interesting to be there. And I wish I had the philosophy class like that, but I've got English class, and I do not like that teacher. I will tell you what.
You betcha. Um, like, are you gonna do more online classes next time? Because like, I just don't even understand like what you're. It's just like it's like self-flagellation from my perspective. It's literally just self-torture. And like you said, if like the spirituality class is like that, then it's like sure, maybe that class is actually worth it, and that class is beyond worth it. But it's like in general, it's like if there isn't some aspect like that that makes it abnormally worth it, then why on earth would you ever do that to yourself? It's like to me, it's just like it'll destroy the whole day. It's like if I have to spend 30 minutes getting ready and then 30 minutes getting home and then 2 hours there, then it's like, well, say goodbye to doing anything useful that day.
Yeah. Well, one of the places is like downtown, and me and Ryan walk downtown and stuff, and go to the pier and stuff. So it has that benefit.
Yeah, I can see that, but like, I guess, is that worth attending the class when you could just do that on its own? Like, it provides you an excuse to do that more often. I get that, but it's like, I don't know. I do not know about that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it just depends on the classes. Like it depends on, like, I mean, if I have, like, statistics class or math class or whatever, like, there's no reason to do that in person.
Yeah. Anyways, so like, should we wake up early? Do you wake up early? Are you gonna sleep until noon tomorrow when you have classes, or are you gonna wake up at 9? And should we just try and wipe it out the 3 hours before you leave for classes?
Um, that would be interesting. I mean, I'm open to anything. I can try that. Wake up at like um 10. Start at 10, maybe.
What time do you have to leave though? If you start at 10
I'd leave at
and you have
12.
to leave at 12, but does that, like, what time are you gonna start getting ready?
Well, getting ready is
Like,
clothes on and backpack, and that's nothing.
okay, that seems to make sense to me. That way, at least it's like 2 hours should be enough. Where even if we don't get the super prompt done, we get it at least done enough for me to test it on that assignment while you're at school.
Uh-huh.
Also, is there potential for you to, like, us to continue messaging each other about the super prompt? Like, in other words, when I'm in my class, when I'm in my psychology class, I literally am playing fucking Horizon Chase Turbo on my phone. Um, are your classes like that, or do you have like a no phone policy or whatever?
Um, uh, there, yeah. I mean, I would be able to text you back and forth. Yeah.
Yeah, obviously, I'm not saying we call in the middle of class. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Where it's like, the first 2 hours should be enough for us to both understand what we need to understand, so that after that we can just message each other on Discord and be like, "Hey, check this out," and the other person be like, "Huh, maybe try this with that." You know what I mean?
Yeah. Um, I won't be able to, like, I also use that time to do like schoolwork. Um, cause like,
Yeah, I mean, to me, this is just like more important than schoolwork on the very virtue of it, like, being the key to all future schoolwork. It's like, this
well, at least for
is.
me, I don't really have to do these random like essay things that you keep on talking about. Like, this won't necessarily help me that much.
I don't understand what you do.
I mean, like, world religions class, like, it's in psychology and philosophy. It's mostly just quizzes and, like, it's not necessarily like essays and stuff. Like, every now and then I'll
Quizzes?
write an essay. Like one essay was about like the essay that, like, English had me write. Like, I wanted to write that because I thought the painting that I chose was awesome, and I actually saw a symbol about it, and I wanted to express that myself. I didn't want a robot to do that for me. Um,
Well, I think that's retarded because, like, while I agree that the prompt being good is a massive difference, I would have still had the robot help me, not on the metric of cheating, on a metric of, like, even if I'm trying to calculate the radius of a black hole, I'm going to use a calculator because using calculator is not cheating. It's just going to increase the efficiency of my ability to calculate the radius of a black hole.
yeah, I just like I just knew the writing was so good that, like, there's nothing the robot could possibly do to improve it, at least grade wise, and at
Yeah,
least for my
I
content with it.
I just couldn't disagree more. It's like the rough draft. You're going to spend what time? You just wasted time doing the rough draft. When it's like anything that you perfected could have just been put on top of the robot's rough draft in less time. There's just no way it couldn't have been. There's no way around that. There's no even like Steelman for the other side.
Well, I think that
There's
there
no
is a
way you.
skill to writing and the ability to express yourself in words without having to rely on something else to do it for you. I think that has a mental skill that has benefit. Yeah.
No, I think that's actually retarded to say in every capacity. I think that's just as equally as retarded as saying that there's an innate skill in doing math without a calculator. It's like, is there? Sure, that's a skill. Is there a skill in being able to make my own bread? Sure. But if I
Well, I
can
mean, it
buy that
literally. I mean,
bread for
like, to a mathematical philosopher has the ability to go into mental states that the average person does not. So yes, that is labelly different. Yes.
yeah, okay, on one hand, what you're saying is true. On the other hand, the states in which that mathematician can go into can be explained in words. Like, in other words, you don't need to understand uh gigageometry to be able to conceive of the thought texture of Gödel's incompleteness theorem. You don't need to actually be able to do gigafuck equations to be able to understand that in the fourth dimension you can have a Klein bottle. Like, all of the states of mind that are accessible to a good mathematician are also accessible to anyone who can use the fucking English language. And by the same metric, all of the mind states that are accessible to someone who is quote unquote capable of writing in a creative way, or whatever the fuck the retarded language you use was, that person is simultaneously capable of achieving the same mindsets and achieving those same results by just using the utility of a robot to achieve more time for their perfection.
But the
This person
ability
who
to
is
have
hypothetically
a blank page and have to create word by word each word to create an entire sentence and to have that
is
structure.
not a useful skill on its own metric. There,
But
you could,
that the
once you
idea
can
that
do
does
it.
not build your mind and your psyche to be able to with like have higher amounts of information to categorize information in better ways and to think better. That writing literally makes you think better. Like having
It doesn't.
telling I well
Well, okay, well, no, I suppose this is what I'm saying. It's not that it doesn't. I understand what you're saying. It's just it literally. This is the best. This is the number one peak example of what you're saying and why it's wrong. The argument that you're saying right now is the audiobooks are worse than books because reading books actually stimulates your mind in a different way. It's like, no, actually, the point of a book is not the mind state of reading. The point of a book is the information contained within the book. So if you read a book about philosophy, about Nietzsche's will to power, and at the end of that book about will to power, you understand the concept of Nietzsche's will to power. It doesn't matter whether you read that on a fucking physical textbook or a audiobook. The point is the information that is being transferred. In the same way, whenever you write a good paper, the skills which you gain from writing a good paper are the ability to transfer your message into language. That message is still being transferred into language, whether or not you use a robot to skip the initial rough draft. The skill which you acquire from writing that rough draft is not actually a beneficial skill in any other facet of life. The
but like
skill
why
which
would
is
I
acquired
assume
from
it does
writing.
that? Why would I assume it writes the rough draft better than me when I know that if I start from it from scratch, I will inevitably end up with a
It's
better
not that
essay.
it writes. You won't. It's not that it writes the rough draft better than you. It's that the rough draft is the calculator part. There's nothing to be gained from a rough draft because a rough draft is going to be consistent across all essays. In other words, your teacher for a grade expects you to start your every single essay with a thesis statement. They expect you to end every single essay with a conclusion. They expect you to follow these specific grammar rules, these specific three body paragraphs, opening, conclusion. They expect you to follow these rules from scratch every single time. So by you saying, "Well, I'm writing it, I'm going to spend my time writing it," you're not gaining anything other than you're doing the manual labor that could just be done for you. There's absolutely nothing gained unless you want to make the argument of, well, actually, because it's technically more difficult, I'm benefiting from the stress. Like, just complete and total boomer retard arguments like that.
Yeah. the only way to solve this would be like what I'm looking at right now, which would be like studies showing that actually writing has some health benefit to you. And
Not, yep, but that's never. I never said that writing doesn't have a health benefit to you. What I said specifically was that all of the benefits that are conferred by successful writing are within the confines of successfully transmitting a message into language, and that all of the
but
parts of
clicking a
your
few
brain.
buttons and telling and doing it with ChatGPT is different than your mind going from word to word to
You're
word.
not listening to what I'm saying. You're speaking to a straw man that doesn't exist. You're speaking to a figment of your imagination. What I said is not that you write your entire essay using ChatGPT, because that's never what you're able to do. That's never what I've ever done, and that's never what either of us will ever do. Because what you do is that you have the ChatGPT generate the perfect rough draft. You have the ChatGPT generate the perfect what?
I did
Did
not
you
say
say something or was that an echo? Oh, it must have been myself
there was a
echoing.
noise.
Oh, weird. Anyways, you have ChatGPT generate the patterns that are necessary within every single assignment. You have ChatGPT basically, whenever you write an essay for school. Oh, Jesus, I almost threw up. If what I'm typically saying, right? If what I would typically say to you is, if if what I would typically say to you, I'm trying to think of the right example here. I know that there's an example for this, but none of them are hitting me. But it's like the libtardation of an assignment. Like if I'm saying something to you, then I'm going to say it bluntly. I'm going to be like, sure, there may be a difference in races, but that doesn't mean that that any particular race is inferior, because you can isolate those genetic traits to people within any race, right? Like that may be the blunt argument that I provide to you. But if I'm going to write that for school, then there's going to be a school version of that where I'm not going to be able to give the blunt version. I'm going to have to give the libtarded version, where I'm going to have to be like, no, of course there could never be a genetic difference between people. That would be bad, right? Like there's like an actual like formulaic retardation that needs to be applied to an assignment, and that's what ChatGPT can do.
Okay,
ChatGPT.
I think I have to agree with you overall. I just so happen to have been very biased because the first writing assignment given to me was something that I just happened to find extremely interesting, and that like
I,
by
I
doing that
I
it would
still
have.
don't agree with the
Well,
premise
yeah,
that
well, hold on. I
doing
agree with all
things
every
you
other
enjoy would ever
assignment
be
like
better.
that should be done. It's just that that one it was like it would have wasted my time to ask it. Like I enjoyed just writing. Like I didn't want to do that. Like
I still disagree.
like in the same way you
It,
want like you just naturally have the ability to write a comment on someone on Instagram and insult them and it arguably describe that, right? But like it just happens, it just flows. There's no need to stop and go to another page and ask ChatGPT about how to improve this or that. It's like it's already there. Like that's just how I
it's not
felt in that
you're
moment.
you're like missing something, or like something that I don't even think you're missing. It's like some like actual like intentional retardation or something you're doing. It's like what I'm you don't need like in other words, I see what you're saying, that you have assignments that are significantly more engaging, to the point where you want ChatGPT to do significantly less work because your opinions are entirely unique. And because your opinions are entirely unique, and there's so much of your opinions that you want expressed, you don't need ChatGPT to do that much legwork because you want it to be mostly yours. I understand that. But then you're coming at me, and then you're giving the straw man of like, but I just didn't need ChatGPT to edit what I was saying. Okay, well that's fine. You don't need ChatGPT to edit what you were saying. What I'm saying is that even if you don't want most of it to be typed by ChatGPT, there's no way to avoid the fact that there is the initial patterns of an essay that are always going to be, you're always going to save time doing them. There's like and I guess my bigger point is that if you enjoy typing those platitudes, if you enjoyed typing the like shitty thesis statement, which you're already going to have to type the more in-depth version in your third body paragraph, your second body paragraph, or whatever. If you enjoy typing the like mundane, retarded version of that, the slopified version of that for school, because you have to type it twice just to have a successfully graded assignment, then you may be retarded. Like it's like literally there are parts of an essay that you have to do for every single essay ever in school that are always going to be pointless, and they're only there for the grade. They're only there for the grade. They're
It's
not there to
but like the
express
intro and the conclusion that like takes like 3 minutes in total to write. It's like the body paragraphs that like yeah maybe I waste
it's
3 minutes.
there are parts of that all throughout the thing. There are so many pieces of an essay for school that are pieces that are useless and that would never be there if it wasn't for school. There are so many pieces that are entirely arbitrary, that are a waste of time to type, and that there's no way you could possibly put your own creative flair on them, because the whole point of them fucking being there is to remove creative flair. The whole point of them being there is to act as a school uniform and to dress your essay up as though it was everyone else's. There's no way that you could enjoy writing them, because to me, the enjoyment comes from making my mind, my unique thoughts available in a word form. And there's no way to make these parts unique. There's no way to do it because by their very nature, the point of them is to not be unique. The point of them is their consistency across everyone's essay. So you can't have enjoyed typing them. Like you may be retarded enough to like enjoy the like monotony, I guess, but like there's no way you were creative with it because you can't be.
Well, what does that mean? Like, I found a painting, right? I found artistic elements to it that were not a part of the actual painting. It's something that I found to it, and then I wrote
Yep.
the
But
entire
then you
thing.
had to have typed words about that painting that were not about the meaning the painting of the painting to you. There were parts of that essay where you would have necessarily said the same thing twice or three times when you could have just said it once and bluntly got the point across. But instead, you had to put it into school slop jargon and you
Can
had to
you give
say
an
in your
example?
like for instance the opening and conclusion and this isn't the only version but like for instance in your opening you might have had to say something like for instance to me I like the prompt too of the painting and what I would have done like I've said before was I would have done the Wotan or whatever his name is the god that Hitler had a painting of himself done for and the god that like Hitler somehow matched like perfectly like it was insane all the connections between Hitler and Wotan and that's an interesting painting. That's something I would have liked to have written about. And so I wouldn't have asked ChatGPT to do very much of the work. I would have just had ChatGPT do for instance, like you were saying, for as far as an example goes. So like if in the opening I would have had to have gone, in my opinion, Wotan is a metaphor for Hitler because of their destructive nature or whatever, like platitudinal slop fest fucking retardation I needed to do for school. Like that shit that is literally just like I think this is this because it expresses this. Due to the vivid detail used in this part of the painting, I think that the actual lesson in the painting is this metaphor. I think that the meaning displayed by the artist's intentions here are very clear that they express this. The fucking slop words, the slop shit that means nothing, the actual meaningless platitudes that are only there for a grade, like yet again. So you say that in the intro, and then in your third body paragraph, now you say the actual version of that. So you've now for some reason wasted your own goddamn life typing out the words that you know you're actually going to elaborate meaningfully on later. So it's like if I was in a conversation with you and I went, I think that the meaning that Ian M. Banks was trying to express with the ending of his novel was that life is actually random and that the point of life is that there is no point at all. And then later in my third body paragraph, then I actually explain to you my actual opinion, which is that the beauty and the way that he's capable of killing off his main characters expresses the lackadaisical nature of reality or the sort of harsh nature of reality where you can be a good guy and you can have your um principles fully fleshed out and you can be correct but that doesn't mean that you are going to win and that that is an important lesson to be learned from reality. So like do you see what I'm saying? Where like the slop school version I had to say in my intro was that I think that the way that Banks used this ending expresses the idea that perhaps life is maybe cruel, like the stupid gay platitudes. And then later that's definitely useless because I'm actually going to expand on that idea in the point of it being there in the first place. There's no point for the intro because the whole point in the intro is just to be slop for your later third body paragraph. It's like it's pure school slop. There's no point. There's no meaning. There's no reason you'd ever talk like that to an actual real human in real life because it's retarded. And ChatGPT can just get rid of the wasted time doing that. And now you can come back with, but it only takes 3 minutes. Well, that's 3 minutes of your life down the drain that could have been done by ChatGPT, and it isn't only 3 minutes because that isn't the only example of the slop that you need to put in for a grade.
I mean, yes. Again, I agree with you majority of the time. I just again,
I'm saying
I even pulled up
100% of
this
the time.
essay and I recall this particular introduction and I remember like you can write I write an introduction that like can be fun and entertaining and like hooks the reader and like that's a part of it is hooking the reader and like oh I want to read the entire thing because of what you've just teased to me. Like if you do that well, then that's a good part of writing. Um like
Nope. Nope.
yes,
First of all, no. Nope. Nope. First of all, no, it's
in
not. It's a bad part of
articles
writing. And
when you pull up articles like and when you watch YouTube videos like people will talk about hey here's what's coming up here's what I'm about to tell you I'm not telling you it all
and
because I'm telling you it
and
later
and 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 if I clicked on a video and they used the school version of a thesis statement, then what
right
I'm
you
going
know
to do
if you
is I'm going
write
to
it like that if you write it blandly which it's hard to not to do then yes, I agree. But like when you like,
No,
this
no,
one,
no. It's not about when you write it blandly. It's about to write a thesis statement, you need to adhere to a particular structure. If I'm reading a news article, you're right. They do typically adhere to the concept of a thesis statement, which is some vague, shitty platitude which tells me nothing, that doesn't get me hooked. What it actually does is it pisses me the fuck off because I just wasted my time reading some vague piece of shit sentence that is actually only going to be expanded upon in the detail, which I clicked on the fucking article for in the first place 3 paragraphs later. How about you shut the fuck up with your introduction statement and you get into the fucking point of the article, or you give me an actual goddamn summary? How about that? How about instead of wasting my fucking time with the statement that is just the useless version of the later paragraph, how about you actually summarize the paragraph in a meaningful way? So instead of reading halfway through your fucking article or getting me
But
hooked so that
summarize
I
which
keep
paragraph? You have to choose which one to start with. What if you have multiple ideas and the intro is supposed to tease the multiple ideas and you can't summarize multiple ideas all at once?
Well, you're already just you're just in la la land because you can't summarize multiple ideas in a thesis statement. That's not the point of a thesis statement. Literally, the point of a thesis
It's supposed to
statement is that
tease the
you
ideas. It's
summarize.
supposed to say, here's what I'm trying to say, and here's the evidence for
No,
it.
it's not. It's not supposed to tease the ideas. It's supposed to tease the main idea. If you write a thesis statement and you go and you tease all of the ideas that are coming in the following paragraph, then you're going to get a bad grade because that's
No,
literally
that's a
you're
part of it.
missing.
Like, no, but demonstrating
Nope.
here is what I'm about to write about. That is a part of a good essay. That's a part of the introduction.
No, no, it's not.
I
Nope. If I
took an
look up
AP
examples of
English language class where that is taught. Like, it's a college level course.
so,
It's much a
so if I
higher
look
level than
up
what I'm doing right now.
examples,
And
so if
it
I
like
look up examples, so if I look up examples of good thesis statements, you think I'm going to get? You think I'm going to get the entire article summarized in thesis
not the
statement?
end. It's not a summary. Again, it's you bring up the basic. You paragraph one,
Summary of the
body
main
paragraph one,
idea,
two,
not
and
the
three are about
main
each
idea.
individual separate ideas, right? Those separate ideas can be summarized very vaguely and briefly, and then you bring that up in the introduction as a tease to what's about to come.
Nope, it can't be multiple things. Example of a perfect thesis statement.
Okay, so like I had to write 2 body paragraphs. One was about how one was about foreground, and the other one was about lighting, right? And so my thesis statement was about this story, how foreground and lighting told the story that I saw in it. So I used both ideas of the body paragraphs, both overall meanings of them, and I combined that into the thesis statement because my
Okay,
thesis statement is
so
about
in
those
other
body
words,
paragraphs.
you just agreed with me, you fucking numbskull. So what you just said is that you condensed both body paragraphs into one idea. You didn't list it as multiple ideas because if you list multiple ideas in your thesis statement, it's not a thesis statement. So you agreed with me just now. But continue.
I guess like
So in other words,
what would be the even separation? Like
well,
yeah, there are multiple ideas, but they're also in one sentence.
no, no, it's one idea. You expressed one idea. So for instance, if you were to express what you just said as 2 ideas, what you would say is your thesis statement, your incorrect thesis statement would now be 2 different, like, this is like basic. This is like to me in my mind, this is like retardedly simple. It's like you would express as 2 ideas. So like your thesis statement would be 2 different ideas, but you didn't express as 2 different ideas. You expressed as one idea. So like if I
But
had
I'm
3
using
different
2
body
points of
paragraphs.
evidence for that one idea. And what I'm writing about is about those 2 different points.
Yeah, but you're expressing one idea in your thesis statement, and if you were to express multiple ideas in your thesis statement, it wouldn't be a thesis statement, which is
Okay,
what I was
sure,
saying from the
yes.
beginning. Oh, okay. Well, that's all I was saying from the beginning. And the point of that, the reason I was saying that is that if it can only be one thing, if you could only have one thing in your thesis statement, if your thesis statement has to be one idea, then you can't get creative with it because it has to be just a distilled summary of everything that you're going to actually go in depth in later.
So
So,
like
in other
yes,
words,
in that
no.
one sentence, it is a basic summary. Yes, you have to use just the points of evidence and then what is it talking about. And yeah, it is kind of bland, but like with a good enough writing, it
It's
doesn't
not
have to be.
kind
But
of
still,
bland.
it's one
It,
sentence.
nope, it's not. Okay, give me one example of one that's not bland. Because whenever you show me yours for whatever the fuck you enjoy typing, I guarantee goddamn to you that I can make ChatGPT say the exact same fucking thing. Because there's no way you made it unique. You couldn't have. You literally couldn't have. We're literally talking about something that can't be unique. What you put in had to have matched something that I could get ChatGPT to say directly because it's literally the fucking point of a thesis statement. It's the point is to be uniform. So ChatGPT has to, by that metric,
But
be
again,
able
but
to
before
develop.
I even go to that sentence, I already have the idea for the next sentence I'm already writing. So the idea to go to another tab and then ask it, hey, write the thesis statement for me, would be a waste of my time.
No, what you do instead is okay. We've wasted more time having this argument than it is really even worth. But I do view just what you're saying is so fundamentally retarded that it's almost worth having this argument. But I don't think we're gonna have any real resolution. I think it's just like a linguistic understanding or something. Like you think I mean that like you have to like do the whole thing in ChatGPT. But when it's like no matter what you're saying, it will never not be true that you're going to be able to achieve a deeper um customizability. You're going to be able to more deeply express your own message if you, instead of like spending the time perfecting every single word by typing it yourself, if you instead get all of the basic shit out of the way and then you perfect it. So in other words, I'm not saying that you need to leave most of your article typed entirely by ChatGPT. If ChatGPT generates a thesis statement and then you think to yourself, well, I think I can make this thesis statement slightly better and slightly more apt to the thing I'm trying to express, then that's fine. You should change it. I'm not saying that ChatGPT should be the end all be all. I'm not saying that that has to be your final draft. But what I am saying is that there's no way in any world that whatever your final draft ended up being couldn't have just been achieved faster through ChatGPT. Like word for word, verbatim, what you achieved in the end, there's no way that you couldn't have achieved that exact same thing faster by just using ChatGPT, word for word. It's not possible.
To get it as good, I think I would need to go through
Not
different
as
multiple
good.
iterations. So that would take more time.
No, no, you don't. You no, like okay. How do I explain this simply? It's like that literally can't be true because you're going to have all the time that you spent typing all of the platitudinal shit that can't be creative. You now have that as free time that you can just take one rough draft. So, like, in other words, if I took the initial rough draft that we have in ChatGPT here, if I just took the initial use r/non-dualism, and then like you were saying, okay, well now there's a ton of things here that aren't quite what I want them to be, and I want to express my personal understanding of non-dualism because like r/non-dualism can't be exactly the same as my concept of non-dualism, right? Because I've got a personal understanding of non-dualism. And so what you're saying is that, well, ChatGPT has now given you a bland version of it. And what I like doing, the point of writing, the part of writing in which your brain is exercised, the point in which, like what you're saying, the studies reflect that your brain could potentially attain benefits, that point, the whole thing that you're actually talking about isn't writing. The thing that you're talking about is creatively expressing your ideas. And if you just took the shitty Reddit version that ChatGPT is going to spit out to you, and then you change the shitty Reddit version into your version, that will always obviously take less time than just doing it yourself because literally it's like I'm trying to think of like a physical example of this. It's like I guess the example is like obviously it's going to take less time to take chocolate chip cookie dough and then turn that into like a caramel turtle praline cookie because you fucking have the cookie dough. And it's like what you're saying to me right now is you're saying, no, actually, you can make it better if you use the exact same ingredients that are in the store-bought cookie dough, but you do it yourself. And it's like, no, actually, idiot, no, you can't because you're using the same ingredients. If what you're saying to me was that, well, actually, you can make your own chocolate chips from home that taste better, well, then that would make sense. But you can't be saying that because you're literally saying to me, no, you're right. You do use the same formula. You literally use the same
But
ingredients in the
like the
chocolate chips.
ability to write it in a narrative way that sounds good, that sounds reasonable, that connects each sentence to the other sentence, and they flows in a
But
coherent
you can
way
edit
that
the
you're satisfied with.
ChatGPT version to do that. You can just perfect the ChatGPT version in less time than it would take you to do what you're saying, to fully write that out yourself. You can just take the Reddit non-duality version of that, the wrong version, the incorrect Reddit version, and then you can change the Reddit version into your version faster because of the cookie dough example. Even if the cookie dough isn't perfect and you want to add caramel and you want to add pralines and you want to add fucking caramel sauce and white macadamia chocolate chips and all of these creative things, even if you want to perfect the cookie, having the cookie dough is going to speed up the process. Like obviously, like so obviously, clearly. Like, there's not even like a debate in my mind. It's not even like there's no even like counter argument to me. It's so obvious. It's so obvious.
It's just that I know that for this intro, I did it in one go, one try. It was perfect. I liked what it was. The idea that I would have had to have alternatively tried to go for it to create something and then to be like, all right, I'm not satisfied with that. I wanted to do it again and I want it to flow better. And like the idea that it would do that in a way that I was perfectly satisfied with. I don't
Okay,
know.
so
Like
Trevor,
to be as good as the way I did it in one
in
go.
your mind when you just said that, in your mind when you just said that, were you imagining taking multiple iterations of ChatGPT? Is that what you imagined in your head just now? Did you imagine the difference was in one that you sit down typing the whole time, and in the other you use 7 different iterations of ChatGPT until you finally got a perfect one? Is that what you imagined in your head?
It's some way of modifying the original ChatGPT model
'Cause
to
that's
get it to
wrong.
where I
That's
want.
wrong.
Yes.
That's wrong. Because that's wrong. Because now instead, imagine one world. There's 2 worlds here. There's only 2 worlds. Imagine one world where you type it all from scratch. And now imagine another world. So let's say the essay is about the Wotan painting, right? Let's imagine one world where you take the Wotan and Hitler painting and you type completely and totally from scratch your own ideas. And then you imagine another world where you just tell ChatGPT one time, one prompt. You literally just spend 5 seconds typing out the words. Give me an essay about the nature of the Wotan painting and Hitler. That's it. That's the only prompt that you ever put in. And now you compare the time spent in the world where you did it from scratch and the time spent in the world where you spent typing in the 5 fucking words for the one
But then
ChatGPT prompt.
why are we assuming that that's good? Why are we assuming that the intro is a good intro that's written well?
Because it can be complete and total dog shit. It can miss the point entirely, and it will still take you less time to edit that into the version that you currently have than it would to type that
But
from scratch. Because
what if I would have to edit
but
every single sentence?
there's no way you would need to do that. There's no world where that happens. There's no world where you give it a prompt and it just gets the prompt wrong. That's never happened to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess like if like for example, my intro, like because the painting is about lightning and war, I included lightning and war elements in describing it. So like I would have to try and go into detail, like perfectly try and create the intro to be tying it
No,
into
no,
those
no, no, no,
concepts.
no, 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 no. You're already imagining it wrong. You just there, you exposed the point that you're imagining incorrectly. You wouldn't do that. You would just take the rough draft that ChatGPT generated. So now let's say ChatGPT generates a prompt that says, instead of saying thunder and lightning, it says, or thunder or lightning and war, or whatever you said, instead of saying lightning and war, it says, I don't know, thunder and carnage. And you go, I don't like those words. Okay. Then what you do is instead of then rewriting another prompt that says, ChatGPT, rewrite this, but use the words lightning and war. No, don't do that. Literally just take the words thunder and carnage that are already there and then swap them out for lightning and war. And now you've definitely saved time because all instead of having to type out the words, in this essay, you think the lightning and thunder expresses this particular idea in this particular page using these concepts, using illusory language and vivid thought textures. This thing exacerbates this particular idea. Instead of using all the shit slop fucking useless words that don't actually mean anything and are only there for a grade, instead of having to type any of those, your whole thing. So, like what you said, the idea that you wanted to express, right? Lightning and war. Well, guess what? You take all the school shit, the school slop, the formulaic waste of time, fuckhead bullshit, and then you just put in the words lightning and war. So now you've definitely saved time. You see, you have taken the cookie dough. You've taken the school slop frame. You've taken the mold, which every teacher is going to make your creative ideas fit within. And now ChatGPT is giving you the mold. And now all you have to do is you have to put in your own ingredients. So what you liked, your version of the caramel, your version of the macadamia nuts, your version of the white chocolate chips is lightning and war, okay? And now ChatGPT is going to give you the cookie dough. It's going to give you the chocolate chips and the yeast and the everything else which goes in the oven. Now all you have to do is instead of making that cookie dough from scratch and the chocolate chips from scratch, all you have to do is put in the white chocolate chips and the caramel. That's it. Your job's so easy. You just put in the words lightning and war. That's it on the rough draft. You've definitely saved time. There's no way you didn't save time. If you did, you did something wrong.
Yeah. That's assuming that's the only edit you'd have to make. I really wish
There's
I
no way
really,
that can
really
be the
wish
only
this
edit
was
you have to
a
make.
worse prompted essay and that I was not as satisfied with this as I was. I do have to go to sleep soon.
Yeah, I know. Me too. And yeah, fuck. So what? Call it 10 tomorrow.
Yeah.
Um. God, it's so annoying. My B key is remapped to enter, so it just keeps fucking entering every time I try and make it say it. Write an essay about the relationship between Wotan and Hitler. I just want to see what it does. And then by 12:25, hang up. If I'm not done talking by 12:25, just hang up the phone in the middle of me speaking. Okay, well, it says it won't talk about Hitler. Fucking idiot. Write an essay about what was your art piece? I'll just use it as an example. Let's just literally see what it says so you can criticize
Thor's
it.
fight with the giants.
Write an essay about the art piece which displays Thor's fight with the giants.
It's called Thor's fight with the giants.
Okay, and now read me what your first like 3 sentences are that you thought were good.
Like a bolt of lightning, Martin Esco Wynne struck the world in 1872 with his painting Thor's Fight with the Giants. The painting displays the heat of a battlefield raging like a storm, with bodies falling as Thor rides through the battle in his chariot. Lightning surges above him with his hammer raised to the sky as he holds down the neck of an enemy, readying his swing. The painting tells a story through foreground and lightning, showcasing the dynamic of good and evil, and how one who fights for light must know the dark if he truly seeks for the good to prevail.
There's no way that you wouldn't have saved time by just taking one of these. So to me, it seems like almost the second paragraph actually is more close to what you ended up going with. But the first paragraph, you could change it to it as well, and you would also save time. So the first paragraph is art has long been a medium through which myth and legend are brought to life, capturing the imagination and emotions of viewers. One such captivating theme is the Norse mythological narrative of Thor's epic battle with the giants. In numerous art pieces, this clash between the god of thunder and the formidable giants is depicted, creating a rich tapestry of visual storytelling. This essay delves into the significance of these art pieces that portray Thor's heroic confrontation with the giants, highlighting their role in preserving Norse mythology and inspiring a sense of wonder. Like, there's no way you wouldn't have saved time by just taking. So now read your sentence again.
The specific part is the basic, the simplicity of it. The first one simply explains what the painting is and who wrote it. The other sentences are a summary of visually what it is, and the fourth one is my thesis. It's not anything else. What ChatGPT is going to go in tangents about unrelated stuff, but all I needed were those very simple concepts, and that's all I wrote about. And so to get it to understand that, I feel like would take time, which I'm not saying is impossible, but it feels like it would take more time.
Now your disagreement is completely different than the one you had earlier. This is just like you're not even wrong now. Now it's just like that's just like autistic levels of artistic control, I think. Like I don't know. I guess now you're at a point where it's like this isn't even incorrect. This is just a subjective level of like who cares? Like the level of like what you're saying of like these 3 sentences perfectly convey it shortly. It's
Which is the least amount of information as possible.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's a school assignment. Your goal isn't.
But isn't that the idea? Is to do the least amount of information as possible?
No, maybe if it was for a YouTube video. The goal with school is to get it done in the quickest amount of time with the least amount of effort. That's the goal of school.
Yeah. And I agree for most of the time that is the philosophy. But when prompted with something that I would want to do outside of school, I do not mind spending time on it.
But like I said, this is where I don't even just like this is I don't even think you're wrong. I think this is just a level of like I just don't care that much. Like literally,
I totally agree. And if I had to write like I know I have essays coming up about like science and stuff, and I'm not gonna be thrilled about that.
Yeah. You betcha. Yeah, I mean but it's like beyond that, I guess it really is just like to me, I guess this is what it comes down to. The time that you spent enjoying writing that essay would have been better spent enjoying writing a video. So even if that prompt was enjoyable, and I have definitely had prompts that are significantly more enjoyable than other prompts, and I do spend more time on those prompts because I respect them. even on those, I don't think that the 5 minutes you spent converting it into like the most simple possible like version of its sentences, I don't think that's more worth it than spending it doing something for like religion. And this is just like we're literally even wasting time talking about this because this is like such subjective value judgments, and you spent so little time that you probably weren't even thinking about its value judgment versus a video. But I mean, we are at the level where it's like like my personal view on it would just be like at the end of the day, like even though you enjoy doing it, and I understand why you enjoy doing it, and that is an entertaining prompt, it's like the amount of time that you would have saved with ChatGPT, even if it was only 10 minutes at the end of the day, you would have ended up with such a paragraph or such a similar essay at the end that conveyed such similar themes, and like in my opinion you would have been able to juice like 95% of the enjoyment out, because the enjoyment really comes from like the deep personal understandings and not really the like autistic like high like need to structure it perfectly. Like the real juice, the real fun doesn't come from like the utility of like sentences. It comes from like the idea that the sentences are trying to paint as a whole, and that can still be achieved with ChatGPT. So even if you enjoyed the 10 minutes expressed perfecting that like opening paragraph to make it as simple as possible, that time is objectively not well spent because you should have spent that time simplifying a religious video prompt instead. But like I said, I'm on like hyper super autistic levels of criticism where it's like, who cares? Do you enjoy doing it? Like whatever, who cares?
Yeah. Yeah, and I'll definitely do the
Um,
strategy for any further.
any further shit? Okay, well, okay, 10. Call me a 10. Sound good?
All right. Any will you be up by 10?
Yeah, I will be if not before. Um,
So call
I
me.
really want to. Okay, I will.
Alrighty.
Alrighty, toodaloo, bye.
See ya.